Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews from a regular dude, where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels, occasionally I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews from a regular dude, down in the basement. I love these missing 411 things. So I'm going to do another one of those. This is 5 solved missing 411 cases that'll keep you wide awake. And it's from Top 5 Unknowns. Tie knots. So let's check this out.
In many missing 411 cases, individuals who go missing are very often lost forever, with no trace of them ever being found. However, there are a few instances where those who disappear are found alive or leave at least a clue as to what may have happened to them.
I like closure. I've said that before. I don't like
Number 5.
Not knowing.
On July 24th, 2020, 18-year-old Gia Fuda from Maple Valley, Washington, left her parents' house to go for a drive without telling her parents where she was headed. After leaving home, she headed northeast as planned, but ended up traveling further than she meant to and found herself in a remote area of Washington where she ran out of gas. Back at the family's house, Gia's parents became worried about her when she didn't check in with them to tell them that she was safe and she didn't return home. They tried to call her phone, but there was no answer and no reply to their text messages. By 1 a.m., they had still not heard from her, so they contacted police and a missing persons report was filed. Police managed to find surveillance footage of Gia from a coffee shop near a town called Index, where she bought a Bigfoot keychain, got back in her car, and drove off. Then, 3 days after she was reported missing, a transportation department worker spotted her silver Toyota Corolla thanks to a strange way that it had been parked by the side of the road. When police ran the car's plates, they realized that it belonged to Gia and that it had been parked that way because it had run out of gas. Inside the car, they found her purse and other belongings, but her cell phone, Bible, and journal were missing. King County detectives feared that Gia had possibly been abducted and called her disappearance suspicious since her cell phone had been switched off at the spot where her car was found. On July 28th, search and rescue teams began scouring the area, which included the Cascade Mountains, which is a dead zone as far as cell phone signals are concerned. The search was aided by hundreds of people and also search dogs, with their family handing out flyers in hopes that someone may have seen her before she disappeared. 6 days into the search and rescue team found Gia's shoes, cell phone, and Bible near Scenic Creek. This gave them a solid idea of the area where she might be found, and before long, they spotted her halfway up a ravine, sitting on a rock by the river.
Awesome.
She told her rescuers that her car had run out of gas, so she panicked and set off into the woods to try and cut some distance between her and the nearest gas station, but she had gotten lost. She survived on berries and water from the creek, and Gia thought that she had been lost for 3 days, only to find out upon being rescued that she had in fact spent 9 days in the water.
9. Wow. She's pretty lucky.
Number 4.
I don't know. I kind of think that in a situation like that, you're best to stay with your car. Just because of the elements and all that stuff. Because if she would have stayed with her car, that guy that found her car would have found her.
A volcanic island is located in Alaska near an archipelago, along with 2 other islands. In 1945, during the Second World War, Japanese forces had left the 2 islands and a group of soldiers were sent to the volcano in order to monitor a weather observation post that had been created there. Bud Houston jumped at the opportunity to volunteer for this task, as he saw it as a chance at adventure, and so he and 4 fellow soldiers traveled to the extremely remote island. During his time there, Bud would write home telling his parents that it was not easy on the island, but that he was pleased to be chosen for remote duty, and that he was looking forward to going home so that he could marry his fiancée. On March the 3rd, 1945, Bud set out to patrol the area around the weather station, but he did not return for dinner. His fellow soldiers, led by Sergeant Joseph Nichols, set out to look for him, but they could not find any trace of Bud or any of his equipment. Nichols would eventually write to Bud's parents, informing them that their son was missing. He would also visit them to discuss the mystery around his disappearance. At the time, it was believed that Bud had been caught in a landslide, or that he had become disoriented and succumbed to the extremely low temperatures of the island.
Yeah.
Then, in July of 1988, biologists who were working on the island found Bud Houston's remains along a set of rocks, 44 years after he had gone missing. He had wandered off course and ended up below a volcano called Mount Eccentric. His army-issue boots were still intact, and his rifle, along with spent ammunition, his comb, wallet, belt buckle, and knife were all found in the same spot.
Well, they found him. They found him dead, but they found him. At least his family, I guess, can have closure now.
Number 3. Linda Ortega, a 53-year-old woman from Oklahoma, went missing in September of 2012 in north-central Arkansas after entering the woods with her brother, Eddie Hoff, who was 56 years old. Linda had asked Eddie to teach her some of the survival techniques that he knew, and he agreed. And so, on a Saturday afternoon, the pair headed out into the woods. But by Monday, neither Linda nor Eddie had returned from their hike until later that afternoon when Eddie came stumbling out of the woods. Unbeknownst to Linda and Eddie, a search had been ongoing and virtually the entire town had turned up to find them. When asked where Linda was, Eddie calmly explained that he dropped her off at a relative's house and that she was safe and sound. Upon contacting the family member, however, it was discovered that Linda was in fact not there and she was still missing in the woods. But by this point, it was no longer considered a rescue operation, but rather a recovery effort. Eddie explained that he and his sister had gotten separated and lost, and while finding his way out of the woods, he thought he had seen her sitting on a porch of a nearby family member's house. Then, on Thursday afternoon, Linda was found by volunteers searching with all-terrain vehicles. She was also disoriented and confused as to how she had ended up where she was. She would later tell her rescuers that she had seen other people while she was out in the woods, but they didn't notice her, and every time she got close to them, they would hide in trees, and she was never able to catch up to them. It's believed that the brother and sister ingested berries that were toxic, and this had caused their confusion and hallucinations. But in the end, it was the survival techniques that her brother taught her just days before that saved Linda's life. Number 2. Giana Hassell Schwartz and her boyfriend, Michael Monahan, had been together for more than 10 years, and in July of 1995, the couple drove to Yosemite National Park in Fresno, California. While on the way there, they decided to stop near Summit Meadow, and they each chose a different path along which they would enjoy a short walk. They agreed that they would meet back at the car, and Mike headed to an overlook where he decided to do a bit of bird watching. After about 15 minutes, he returned to the car where he waited for Giana to return as agreed.
I would never separate.
But as time went by, there was no sign of her. He became worried and started inquiring from nearby tourists and park employees if they had seen her, but no one recalled seeing Giana. At around 12:30, Mike informed park rangers that Giana was missing, and within 45 minutes, a search was started. A helicopter joined the search later in the day, and the following day, rangers were assisted by 8 search dog teams. The dogs found Giana's scent, but followed it back to the car, resulting in speculation that Giana had been the victim of foul play. The largest search in the history of Yosemite ensued, with over 40 square miles being covered by hundreds of searchers divided into several teams. When there was still no trace of her to be found, the FBI was called in and Mike was asked to do a polygraph test, to which he agreed and passed. 2 weeks later, the search was terminated, and all that was found of Giana were her footprints, nowhere near where she was meant to be. Maureen McConnell, a friend of Giana's roommate, contacted a tracker school to aid in the search, and a tracker student from California took the task on. After interviewing rangers, FBI, and search and rescue personnel, he and a fellow tracker resumed the search. They found that the area where Giana went missing was populated with aspen trees, which made a sound similar to moving cars when the wind blew through the leaves. They assumed Giana had erroneously followed this sound, leading her further away from rescuers. Then, 2 months after going missing, Giana's remains were found on the 3rd of September. She was located in a small river pool by 2 fishermen about 3 miles from the spot she went missing.
Sucks.
It was determined that she'd been walking off the trail where the creek's rocks were extremely slippery. The creek was also moving much faster than usual due to the snow that had melted upstream, making it hard to traverse the rocks and strong current. Number 1. Amy Lingert, age 69, and Joe Elliott Blakesley, age 63, were 2 friends who traveled from Boise, Idaho to the Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserve in September of 2013. The area is known for its inclement weather, jagged rocks, and rough terrain. Tourists travel to the preserve to visit the well-known volcanic features of the area, which boasts 3 lava fields over an area of about 1,100 square miles. When Joe had not returned to work on the 24th of September, her colleagues phoned police to voice their concerns. They told police of Joe's plans, but thanks to a funding crisis, the federal government was shut down at the time, and a search was not started until the 1st of October, almost a week after the women were reported missing. Thankfully, 10 Park Service rangers decided that despite the lack of government resources, they would continue the search for Joe and Amy on foot. This did mean, however, there would be no access to rescuers, search dogs, or any aerial assistance. Witnesses described seeing the pair on the 19th of September in Arco, nearly 18 miles from the Craters of the Moon Park, and police found receipts that showed the women were at the monument on the 24th. Joe and Amy's pickup truck was found at a trailhead in the park, where their dogs were found unharmed, along with their cell phones and other personal belongings. The rangers believed that this showed that they didn't plan on being away from the truck for very long, and due to the dogs being in the truck, they would have stayed in sight. But despite searching for a combined 6,000 hours, no sign of either woman was found until the 25th of September, when Amy's body was discovered in a lava field southwest of the trail.
Yeah.
A month later, searchers finally found Joe's remains about 1 mile from where Amy was found, and 2.5 miles from their vehicle. It was determined that the women had become separated, disoriented, and dehydrated due to the rugged terrain and extreme weather. They'd succumbed to exposure to the elements.
You see in a lot of these that their cell phones are found like in their cars or something afterwards. My cell phone is with me all the time. I would not leave without my cell phone. That's just the way it is. I don't know why these people leave their cell phones. It could come in handy, but I don't know. That was 5 solved missing 411 cases that'll keep you wide awake. A couple good ones where they found the people. The rest, they found them, but they're no longer in this world. How about a joke? Another one from Stephen Wright. Today I got in my car and was driving around, wondering how my life would have been different if I was born one day earlier. Then I got thinking, maybe it wouldn't have been different other than I would have asked that question yesterday. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, #MeanGene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.